What's up YouTube, this is FJ and today I'm going to be doing an in-depth comparison review between the 2013 Malavita Restricted and the 2015 Burton Cartel. Now both of these are the non-EST version because I don't have any EST snowboards, but they do come with the discs that allow you to put these on EST snowboards, the conversion discs. Now before I go further, I do want to make a general comment with Burton as a company and as a brand. Now you guys all know that I'm a Thrive and a DC fan. I love supporting Thrive because they promote the community and the coaching and the learning aspect, and I love DC products because I'm a big Torstein fan and I really do enjoy riding both my DC Ply and my DC Media Blitz. But in terms of Burton, you just can't contest the fact that they have so much money in their research and development, backed by all their sponsorships and just fame and popularity around the world, that they make, in my opinion, the best tech out there for snowboarding. Hands down, their technology and their advancements in the sport are by far what makes them leaders in the snowboard technology race. Funny enough, I only own a few Burton products, these bindings, this hat, and I do have a pair of Burton snowboard pants, my AK2L Stagger. Those were actually really expensive. I'll probably never spend that much money on snowboard pants ever again. I actually got some awesome deals on these bindings. I got these Malavita Restricted on a liquidation clearance. I think I got them for $180 plus tax, meltdown when it was closing down. And these I was able to get a steal. These were on the clearance shelf at Sport Check, and I was able to get these for less than $165 plus tax. These are Canadian dollars, but I think I even got an additional 10% because these were the floor model. So I just couldn't turn it down. Burton Cartels for $165 or less. You just can't. First thing I want to do with the side-by-side comparison are the high backs. So you'll notice that with the Burton Malavita, it has this winged top tip, and this is supposed to allow for additional support during torsional flex, and it's supposed to also provide additional support when you're trying to lean into a press as you lean back towards the tail or forward towards the nose on the other high back. It provides additional support as it pushes up against your calf. On the other hand, the Burton Cartel has a more open design. It is a stiffer high back and a stiffer binding overall. The open design does allow for a little bit more maneuverability. Just to compare the flex, torsionally, the Malavita is rather stiff, but again with the wing, it does allow for a little bit more give when wanting to flex it torsionally. Laterally, it's very stiff, which is what you want for any high back. Provides really good edge response when leaning in on your heel. Same with the Cartel, torsional flex, pretty stiff. About the same as the Malavita, maybe just a little bit stiffer, but again, lateral flex, that thing's not gonna go anywhere. It's just an awesome, great design. In terms of padding, you have here a little bit of a web design. You can see through the cutouts here of the high back. That's to hug the back of your boot, and you've got some foam padding on the top there. It's very comfortable, and on the Cartel, you've got foam padding all around. In terms of the design of the cutouts, you see those big holes, and that's supposed to reduce weight by removing material. Now to make a comment on the Malavita's high back, I do find that it's a little bit cumbersome to put these on. If your boot's coming out from out here and you're putting it on, the tendency is to hit this wing, which gets in the way, and it gets a little bit annoying sometimes when you're trying to put these on. Whereas I did find, as with the traditional high backs with an open face, it's a lot easier to put your boot in. I do think that the wings do look pretty cool aesthetically, and they probably do provide a little bit of function in terms of additional support when doing presses, but I don't know. I think I much prefer the open design. Another side-by-side comparison, I want to compare the base plates. You'll notice that the Malavita here, the heel side is narrower than the toe side there at the top. And you'll notice here on the Cartels, it's rather identical. Not that much difference in terms of width. A little bit narrower on the heel side compared to the toe side, but an overall straight edge design. Now, intuitively, I think that it makes more sense in the Cartel, because when you are providing any kind of pressure on your snowboard, whether it be leaning into on one side or on an edge, you want the snowboard to react evenly depending on where you're applying pressure. But because it is a wider stance on the Malavita's toe side, you're going to experience a different response on your toe side compared to your heel side, even if you're providing an even amount of pressure on both. So that's just one thing that I think intuitively makes more sense to have the Cartel's shape. In terms of actual function, you might not actually notice it. Now to compare the ankle straps, you'll see that the Malavita has an asymmetrical design, wide on the outside as it goes in towards the inside, whereas the Cartels have pretty good symmetry there, even amount of padding on both ends. My preference again goes to the Cartel. Symmetric distribution of padding is more comfortable on my feet. It provides a balanced amount of pressure on my ankle. I don't feel any odd pressure points because of this design. And I do find that the overall padding on the ankle strap is a little thinner. It's not as obtrusive and it doesn't feel as substantial around your ankle. Whereas the Malavita Restricted, I do feel a very defined difference from the outside of my boot compared to the inside of my boot. You are able to flip this over upside down if you wish, or swap them with the other side if you want the larger side to be on the inside. But I have chosen to keep it in its standard position. Because of the wider padding, getting in and out of these bindings is just a little bit more annoying. I really prefer being able to get in and out of the binding a lot easier. In terms of the toe strap, they are identical. Burton's been producing this particular toe strap for several years now, and I think the reason is because it's the perfect toe strap. I've tried many different types of toe straps. I've had ride bindings, I have switchback bindings, and by far these perform and are the most comfortable. I know with Roam and Ride toe straps, you'll notice that it's mainly rubber components with a web design, and that's supposed to be the most conforming for your boot's toe box. However, because it's such a flexible rubber design, the response isn't quite as good as these Burton toe straps. When you are initiating a heel turn, because of the flex of the toe strap, it's just a tad bit less responsive compared to these. Again, Burton's research and development is just that far ahead. They've produced the perfect toe strap that they don't need to change. Going back to the ankle strap though, you'll notice that newer models of these, of the Cartel as well as the Malavita, are gravitating towards their new web design that you would see in the Genesis and the Diode, which I actually really like. I got to try my friend's Burton Genesis a couple times, a couple seasons ago, and I love how they feel. The way they're designed, it's almost as if you're not wearing any ankle straps. They're there and they provide the support you need. Because it's a web design, you don't really require as much padding, but really the response is all about your toe pressure and your heel pressure. Therefore, the ankle just needs to keep you locked in. That's why I really like the new ankle strap design on Burton's. The rubber web design not only provides a very uniform seal around your ankle, it's also lighter weight and you don't feel any pressure points around your ankle. What I do like about Burton is what they do with their higher end tech. As future iterations are released, they move that higher end tech down to the lower tiers. So take for example the new Malavita and Cartel, they both exhibit the new web design ankle straps, and they're moving these properties down. Like you would be able to see this winged high back on the lower priced model, the Infidel, just not as much etching out to reduce the weight, but you still get that winged design. So I do like that about Burton. They're not always just about maximizing profit on their products, but they do take the time to move the tech down so that everyone can enjoy the advancements of their products. Now in terms of the footbed, both of these bindings exhibit the auto cant full footbed. Cant just means the angle of your footbed. As you split your legs apart for your stance, your feet actually want to slant inward, and the inside of your feet end up applying more pressure than the outside of your feet. And to maintain good comfort with your knees, a lot of binding companies are introducing cant beds, slightly slanted footbeds to allow for wider stances. So what Burton has done here is they have the softer foam on the inner foot of both of their bindings, so that as you wear these bindings throughout the day, these actually conform to the pressure point of your inner foot, and the harder foam on the outside of the foot stays higher so that you actually get that natural cant on the footbed. I really love that. I do find that other brands like Roam and Ride, they have a permanent canted footbed with a lot more padding. That's probably a little bit better, but this is a nice trade-off because not everyone has the same stance. So some people might like their feet closer, some people might like their feet wider. This allows for a much more diverse selection of stances because it conforms to your foot. So I do like that about Burton. And of course, because it's a full footbed, this just unclips on the back to reveal the disc underneath. Same with the Cartel, you have that as well, the fold up of the footbed to access your disc. Because I have these ankle straps open, I did want to mention something. On the 2013 Malavita, you'll notice that it's a very traditional ankle strap, as with most bindings. But what they did introduce with the Cartel, with this ankle strap, you'll notice it doesn't fold back. It's got this pre-pressed fold crease right there on the ankle strap. I used to think that that would be an issue because it's thinner material there. I thought that it'd be more prone to breakage, but it's lasted me throughout the entire season so far and hasn't been an issue. So I do like the fact that it's a lot easier to get in this binding because of this. I just worry a little bit that over time fatigue might be an issue and this might just snap off. I'll let you know if it ever does. And lastly, in terms of comparison, I do want to talk about the ratchet system. Burton's ratchet system is by far my favorite out of all the bindings I've ever tried. It's so easy to function. Everything can be done with one finger, and removal is very quick and easy. If you just find the tip, slides right off. Put it right on, very minimal effort, slides right off. And it's identical in terms of the Cartel. It's the same ratchet system, comes right off. Really easy and smooth entry and removal again. The new higher models, they've introduced new ladders with slanted steps and also steps on the back side of the strap as well for additional support. And as you crank the ratchet, it actually climbs more on a slanted direction. I don't know if I am a really firm believer of that because I know that with pressure, as you clamp this down, you kind of want even steps. I don't understand why they introduced the slanted steps. I guess in time, riders will see just how beneficial that new tech is. I do know though that their new ratchet systems is even smoother in going in and out. So that might be one of the reasons why, because of the slanted steps. But support-wise, it makes more sense to keep the steps nice and straight. Now, in terms of adjustability, both these bindings give you a lot of options. Cartel being slightly more. Take, for example, the ankle strap has 3 holes here for you to choose from in terms of positioning, whereas the Malavita only has 2. You also have your forward lean mechanism. You just rotate this either to the left or to the right. It will raise the high back's forward lean. I have it on F5 on both of these bindings, which is a little high. I think I gravitate towards F5 because of the number 5. FJ5, it's my favorite number. Probably makes more sense for me to be around F3 or F4, but I'm gonna keep it at F5 and I just adjust to it. What does worry me about this forward lean mechanism is this material here that really keeps this high back in one piece, besides that forward lean mechanism. The more you raise this forward lean screw system, I just feel like you're adding more stress to both sides of these bindings. Similar with the Malavita Restricted, there's 2 points here on the side, and as you increase forward lean, this is really just stretching out this material. So it makes me wonder about the stress that both these sides are being put under because of the forward lean mechanism. You also have high back rotation options here. You could move that back and forward. Same with here, so you can rotate your high back according to your stance. Same with the Cartel. It's got them on both sides as well. You also have 2 options for the toe strap positioning. I like to have my toe strap go around my toe as opposed to on top of my toes. Same with the Malavita, you do have options here if you wish to put your toe strap in front or on top. You just got to move this 1 notch over. And in terms of sizing for the footbed, let's say if you have a larger foot and you want to have your footbed stretch out a little bit, you do have that option. Both of these bindings allow you to move this footbed out incrementally. Same with the Cartel. You can move this out further if you wish. And there's incremental stages there on the back. I don't know if you can see that. Where this rests, you can clip this more forward and this can move forward. I have relatively small feet at a size 8 boot, so I just leave them all the way in. In terms of shock absorption and padding on the bottom, they are pretty much identical in terms of thickness and function, because again, they've got the same auto cant footbed system, so they perform similarly there. Overall, I do think that the Burton Cartel is the stiffer binding, and having said that, the Malavita is a little bit more forgiving in terms of flex, but I find myself preferring the Burton Cartel. I've mentioned this in other videos, but I do find that as you progress as a rider, you'll tend to give up softer flex for additional response and performance. So as a rider, as you progress, you rely more on your skills to perform the maneuvers, whereas a beginner to an intermediate rider would want something a little bit more forgiving to make up for that lack of skill. But the better you get, you want to make the most out of the performance of your equipment. That's why I'm now leaning towards the Cartel. It's very stiff, so I wouldn't really recommend this for a beginner. This is actually stiff as well, so I would even suggest maybe going with a softer model for beginners. Great for both intermediate. If you're going to advanced, I'd stick with the Cartel. This might still be on the softer side. I'm really interested in still trying out the new Genesis and even the Burton diode, but I think the Burton diode is going to be a little too stiff because it's all carbon fiber, which is probably really cool because it's super light. So again, guys, Burton's tech is leading the industry. I am a firm believer that they have probably the best tech out there. Of course, their lower end models are really for trying to keep them price competitive, but if you're willing to invest the extra amount of money on good tech, Burton is the way to go. Even though the majority of the materials on these bindings are plastic, they're designed to be very durable and they're definitely going to last a long time. I think Burton makes the best bindings. That's why 2 of the 3 pairs that I own are Burton. My switchbacks, I'm still considering maybe getting rid of them and maybe investing in a Burton Genesis or a diode. I am actually thinking of also selling these Malavitas because I like these Cartels so much. Generally, I like having 1 pair of bindings per snowboard so I don't have to change them around all the time, but I like these so much I might just have to do that with these. In terms of colorway, I do prefer my switchback bindings. I really like the white and the red combination. Not a huge fan of the blue and the black on my Burtons because I have black boots, but really that's just an aesthetic thing. When you find a good deal on Burton bindings, you just gotta go for it. It doesn't matter what the colors are, but having said that, I do still prefer the look of my switchbacks with the white ankle straps. So there you guys have it, a super in-depth comparison review of the 2013 Malavita Restricted and the 2015 Burton Cartel. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions on either of these bindings, please feel free to ask below in the comments. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe. And of course, you can check out all my channels up there at the top. And feel free to follow me on all my social media there on the bottom. Thanks so much, guys. Take care and have a good night.